3.
He's so cute.
Good evening. At this time, call the meeting of Mayor and Council to order at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. If you'd all rise for the invocation by Councilman Mike Bradley.
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord and our Master, thank you for each day you have given us. Thank you for allowing us to make a difference in our city, not only now, but for future generations. Please give us wisdom and strength as we strive to selflessly give back. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Amen. If you remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Are there any changes to the agenda for tonight's meeting?
No, sir, there are not.
Okay. At this time, I'm just going to remind our council, we will have an executive session following the regular council meeting. At this time, I'm going to ask to a vote or a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting we had on December 9th, 2025.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Holland, I make that motion.
I have a motion from Councilman Holland. Is there a second?
Councilman Quillen, I'll second that.
Second from Councilman Quillen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? It was passed unanimously. At this time, it is my honor and privilege to announce the winners of our 2025 Holiday Decorating Contest. As many of you know, look at that handsome devil right there. Look at him.
Where?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's awesome every year to see our residents and our community just light up around the Christmas time. I know council, myself, get a chance to drive around and check out the sites and see how much effort people put into the Christmas and holiday spirit. So it was a pleasure to go by. I do want to announce the winners. Hopefully everybody is present this evening. First place was Mr. Juan Lugo, 100 William Ross Lane. There he is, there he is.
You can come on up front if you want.
We're doing one at the top, all together.
You do them all together, but it's cut the rest of them off the slide for some reason.
10-4, no worries. In second place, Mr. David Hudson. And in third place, Michelle did it. Give credit where credit's due, Mr. Hudson. And in third place, Anane Ingalls. Ariane, thank you. Thank you very much. So if you all wouldn't mind coming forward, I'd like to reward you for your strong efforts and representing our community during the Christmas decorating contest. So come on forward.
You want to line them up over here?
Everybody together? Okay. So I'm going to pass out the check, Mr. Rubio.
Yes.
That's
You're gonna sign that over? Everybody,
Here we go.
Thank you, everyone. At this time, I'm going to move over to public comment. Is there anyone here for public comment this evening?
No, sir.
All right. Is there anyone here for correspondence this evening?
We have no correspondence, sir.
Okay. At this time, I'm going to move over to new business number 1. I believe Mr. Chris Sims is here.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So the electric rates get adjusted every year when DMEC changes the wholesale power supply costs. It's a part of our PCAC ordinance that any time that the collection is over or above, over or under by 3% of our total annual power supply costs, we have to make an adjustment to the power cost adjustment clause, which is in our electric rates. So even though DMEC didn't change the rate for 2026, it's still $96.18 a megawatt hour. They did provide a one-time credit in July of 2025 for about $283,000. And that was because the Indian River reliability must-run requirement that they had, actually, they completed the construction projects necessary to take that out of service a year in advance. So we thought that was going to be the middle of 26. It was actually the middle of 25 that was able to be taken off. And so our wholesale costs have went down, and rather than DMEC credit everybody on their DMEC bills, they provided all the members a one-time check for the difference to carry us through the end of the year, effectively. So with that credit and the fact that the current PCAC that's been in place has actually been in place for 18 months. We put it in place in June of 24 with the intention of keeping it, not having to change it throughout 2025 because of that reliability must-run requirement had increased the cost. So we actually had to change the PCAC twice in that year in 24, once in January and then once in June. But we set it so that it would last 18 months. And so there was a slight difference in what the forecasted power supply costs were for 25 versus what they actually were. So in addition to that $282,000 for the DMEC credit, there was also an additional overcollection. So the total now is about $540,000. So that's what we have. That we really have two options with that, with what we would do with those funds. We could provide a credit to the customer, so effectively reduce the PCAC for 2026. So this is going to be option 1. We can reduce the PCAC down to 0.01275, and that's about a 3.4% reduction. And that would refund that $540,000, the total amount that's been over collected up through the end of 25. That would refund all of that throughout 2026. Now, the issue with that, or the potential problem with that, is that then in 2027, we would have to then increase the PCAC because of we're no longer providing these refund effectively. So the rates would have to go up to customers for that, and DMEC is anticipating another almost 3% increase in power supply cost in 2027. So what that would mean is if we went with this option 1 and we refunded customers everything throughout 2026, we would reduce the bills about 3.4% for this year, but then we would have to raise them almost 5%. It'd be like 4.8% in 2027. And that's, again, we have to reverse this credit that we're giving them effectively in 26, and there's another almost 3% increase in power supply costs expected. The likelihood of that increase in power supply cost just becomes more certain almost every day. I mean, we've all heard the data centers being talked about ad nauseum, but effectively up until about 2030, when they figure most of their loads are going to be in place, we can just expect costs to continue to rise as they have been over the last 12 months in particular, but really 24 months or so. It's been just steadily increasing, and the capacity is a real big problem. They do have the capacity auction that goes out through the middle of 2028. That auction has concluded. It did clear at the capped price. It was an artificial capped price of $330 a megawatt day. The next auction that occurs for 29 is not going to have that cap in there, and it could almost double even from that rate. So we just have to expect the cost to continue to increase over the next 5 years at least. And so there's a very high certainty that it's going to be a 2 or 3% increase in the cost for 2027. So that's sort of option one. The other option is we could sort of, in keeping with what we did with the current PCAC, how we set that in place for 18 months so that we wouldn't have to continually sort of whipsaw customers with changing of that PCAC. We could effectively just leave it the same as it is today. So not change the PCAC, not change the rates to customers, and effectively just carry over that over collection that exists today, that $500,000, and refund it to customers in 27 when those increased costs occur from DMEC. So we would be charging effectively not only the same amount this year for the PCAC, but in all likelihood, the exact same amount in 2027. So we wouldn't have to change the rates next year either. And then we would refund that $540,000 throughout the course of 27. And then as the cost increase beyond that in 28 and beyond, then it's just the normal 2 or 3% to keep up with DMEC's expectations of those forecasted power supply cost increases. So those are the two main options. We sort of put a hybrid in there if we feel like the need to provide some type of credit to the customers today, some relief today. We could refund effectively just that DMEC credit for the reliability must run requirement, that $283,000. So that would be a reduction of 1.5% the customer's bills today. And then it would obviously lower the amount of increase that's needed next year. We would still need some, but it wouldn't be, it would only be less than about 1% increase the customers needed in the following year. So those are the, like I said, the main two options. They all obviously are refunding the money to customers. It's just a matter of, do we want to do it in 26 and then have to increase rates pretty substantially in 27, or do we just want to leave the rates the same and refund it over the course of 2027? Did it stop?
Excuse me. I chaired the meeting last week when I heard this the first time. And two big takes from it. One, we didn't have public comment, which was a relief. But the second thing was, in my thoughts, I believe in consistency. And each month, I think, most families, if they have a steady number that is not going to vary by too much, you can plan the rest of your budget out. So if we were to have a decrease now, just to have an increase next year, I think our residents are going to feel like they're being jerked around a little bit. And I do know this, Delmarva Power residents are now experiencing a 7% increase effective January 1. Okay. I myself am a Delmarva Power customer in Delmar, and it was up 5. Last year it was up 10. So in the past year I've had 15% increases. And I'll be honest with you, I was shocked on Monday when I opened my envelope. My electric bill for last month was $719, which in the past 20 years I've been there, my max has been about $7.50. So for me, it was a preview of things to come. We, on the other hand, in the city, have an excellent relationship with DEMEC, and because of that, not only do we get power at a lesser rate, a lot of people don't realize that we're paying less for power than the Delmarva Power customers are. So I personally thought maybe it would be best to keep it as it is now and have our residents be reassured that their electric bill would not vary. And of course, you know, I'm just one of five, but that was my opinion, and we had quite a discussion about it last week.
Councilman Quinlan.
Yes. I think it's very important that our customers understand these options too as well. As you stated in option number 1, if we go ahead and refund everything back at one lump sum, the average per month 1,000 kilowatt hours used is going to be $5.61. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Mr. Sims?
Yes.
Okay. So I looked at my electric bill, and I averaged just under 1,000 kilowatt hours per month, okay? So I'm looking at that $5.61 adjustment per month. So I look at annually, it comes out to $67.32 that I'm looking at. Okay, for me, that can't even buy groceries for 1 week for me, okay? Okay, now, when we break it down even further, what you've got to understand is that the customers, the higher usage customers, are going to get the bulk of this money. Am I correct in saying that?
Well, when you say get the bulk of the money, they also are the ones that paid the most
Correct.
for it
Okay, we have,
throughout the past 2
we
years.
have customers that use up to 700,000 kilowatt hours per month. Okay, they use 700,000 kilowatts per month at $5.61. That's $3,000 and $27 a month. Okay, annually it's going to be $47,000 or more. Okay, so they're going to get the bulk of the money. So am I correct in saying that?
I mean, that is correct, but it is their money because it's through the PCA that they have paid in
Correct.
more than their fair share of the DMEC bill, and so we would be providing their proportional
So
refund.
what I'm trying to get to is that a fairness to our customers, our homeowners, okay? Because they're going to get very minimal back out of that option number 1, okay? So that's what I was trying to get at on that point. And if we even go to the hybrid, it's kind of the same thing. The bulk of it's going to go back to the higher usage people that use higher kilowatt hours. And then we have the option 2 where we just flat rate it. We lock in for 2 years, and then everybody gets a fairness across the board. That's the way I see it. Everybody's getting the same, is being treated the same. And looking at that option number 2 is how I look at it. So that's where I was trying to go with making sure that our constituents understand that, you know, if we give them a rebate, it's not going to be that substantial for them, and the bulk of that money is going to go to the bigger users, and it's going to be mostly commercial people or businesses or other organizations that are going to get the benefit from this. So as a normal citizen and just a homeowner, I'm not going to get that big bang for my buck, if you want to say. So that's why I'm probably leaning more towards the option number 2, and being a fairness across the board. Everybody gets the same treated the same way. So that's my take on it.
I see your point, and I really do, because the person that pays the most money in should typically get the most rebate. But in the eyes of the beholder, which is our residential user, they may have a different viewpoint on it. And I think, isn't that kind of what you're...
That's where I'm trying to go with it, yes.
If I may ask a question. So I think sometimes when these topics come up, we analyze it and we disperse information once it gets to our level, right? if someone out there is not familiar with PCAC or is not in the weeds on electric, I think sometimes we just say, and we move past it, hey, rates are going to go up. We're estimating 3%. And we just say that, like a blanket statement, and I don't think I do a good enough job of explaining why that's happening and why we're projecting it that way. If you could just do me a favor, somebody out there who may not be in the field, why would we expect those rates to go up, and why are we expecting like 3% range, give or take?
Mhm. So there's two main components to all electric rates. There are, you charge customers a particular amount to collect for what is power supply costs. That's what we're talking about today. That is the actual physical production of the power from the generation plants, wherever they may be. Since we're in PJM, it used to stand for Pennsylvania, Jersey, Maryland, but now it's a 13 statewide area. So we're the largest regional transmission organization. Like we can buy power from people that are hundreds, if not 1,000 plus miles away through PJM, because those generators participate in there. So they have a fuel cost, they have the cost to build their plants. You know, since we can't produce our own energy, we have to buy that energy from someone.
Yep.
And so DMAC, on our behalf, and not just us, all of the DMAC members, they pull all of our needs together and buy those in bulk. Because when you buy contracts, the more kilowatt hours that you can buy, the better, more favorable rates that you can get. And so DMAC goes through that whole process. They procure the power supply. You know, some you buy in contracts ahead of time, some you float at the market. It's a complicated process. But they fix the rate for the members, try to as best they can, fix it on a calendar year basis. So that portion of the rates that's specifically for the power supply, now in an investor-owned utility like Delmarva Power, that's the portion that customers can shop out. So when they hear price to compare, or if they want to go call somebody up and buy power from somebody else, that's what that means. They can go and buy power physically from someone else. Now with the municipality, since we're so small, you can't have a bunch of customers going out and buying their power, and you're only left with the second portion of their rates. So the biggest portion is power supply. The other portion of their rates is to run the actual utility itself. So it has nothing to do with if there was nobody in town and no kilowatt hours were used, that's the cost that it's trying to cover, and that's for distribution. We call it base rate revenue. There's a bunch of different names for it out there, but it's to cover the operating of the physical utility itself. You know, to pay for the poles, wires, meter reading, meters, whatever needs to be done. So that side of it is what we're not suggesting making any changes to here at all. It's only the DMAC cost, and the DMAC costs are only to physically buy the power that we can't produce ourselves, because we don't have generators of that size. And so the fact that those data centers are coming in, so PJM as a whole, their load peak was about 160,000 megawatts, okay? They are expecting it by 2030 to be over 200,000 megawatts as a peak. Those data centers, one data center can be equivalent to about 3 Seafords put together. They're enormous load consumers of energy. And the grid is just, there aren't enough generators out there to reliably provide power to 200 and plus thousand megawatts in the PJM footprint. So there needs to be new generation built. It just takes time. I mean, to source, you're talking huge plants that are thousands of megawatts big. I mean, it takes years, if not a decade, to get those generation plants built. And so so we have to effectively pay, we as in everybody in PJM has to start paying for it now to get those capacity prices up enough to where new generation owners say, oh, well, I can actually build a plant and make a profit, so I'm going to do that and start the process. So, yeah, it's unfortunate that the tail on that power supply side, it's really hard to say how long it's going to be, because if the AI takes off the way they think it's going to, we're going to be in desperate need of some serious energy.
Well, I think a lot of what we're talking is it's a projection, right? We're putting numbers out there based upon what we're anticipating coming down the pipeline. At the very core level, what we do is represent our residents and constituents. And for me, those are individuals who are looking at their budget and how do I pay for my bills, and they see electric costs out there as a huge issue. And I want the messaging to be conveyed that by being a part of DMEC helps us as a city tremendously, because it allows us to reduce those costs best possible way we can, because we are part of DMEC. And secondarily, we're looking at these options to avoid raising costs. That's why we're doing this. So I at the very core level, I just want to make sure that message is being conveyed out there to people when they see these things. Sometimes we're talking some high-level stuff, and we get basically away from the core essence of what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. That's right, because when you take the DMEC rate as a whole, our all-in power supply cost, that $96.18 a megawatt hour, that is what you can compare to the price to compare that the investor-owned utilities pay, and I can guarantee you they're all 100 plus.
Yep.
I can guarantee it.
One more question from me. When I look at these options, and again, I just think about it very common sense the way I look at it. The options we're discussing are percentages, dollars, and cents. And the way I would sum up some of the options versus the others is some have a more positive short-term impact, some have a more positive long-term impact. Would you agree with that sentiment?
I would agree, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Any additional questions from council? Councilman Quinlan.
Well, as we look at these options here too as well, and like I alluded to, I'm leaning towards probably option number 2 with the lock rates for the next 2 years and everything. We're forecasting, it's the only forecast, okay? We didn't, in July, we didn't anticipate, we got the $283,000 refund, okay? We didn't anticipate giving that out to customers because we were projecting out possibly an increase
That's
for
correct.
2026.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're in an unusual situation because we've got, an over collection now, and now we've got to figure out how we're going to do the refund and how we're going to do the over collection, which is a nice thing to have, but we're kind of trying to determine which way to go with this. Well, let's say we go with option number 2, we lock in, and we don't have anything until 2028, okay? What if there is another over collection somewhere along the way, this year or possibly the next year? How does that, what options do we have at that point then?
Yeah, so the PCAC can be calculated effectively at any time. So at any time, the city can decide to make a change to the PCAC. So if let's say the power supply costs don't go up next year, what that would mean is either we'd be basically faced with the same options.
Same thing, yeah.
We could reduce the PCAC then,
We do
or
have that
we
option.
could just continue to wait for power supply costs to increase as we expect them to in a future year.
Yeah.
It's really just how long are we going to hold on to the over collection, because every dollar is accounted for power supply costs can only be paid for power supply costs. So
Can we
we
still
can't
kick
we
it?
can't spend it on anything else.
Can we still kick it down the road?
Yeah,
and-
yeah,
and
you can
go to
definitely, you can do
2028
it.
and extend it even further?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Hmm.
You answered my question. Thank you, Mr. Senator.
Yeah.
Any additional, Vice Mayor?
Charles may be able to answer this better, but the average electric costs have been steady in the last 5 to 10 years, and they're actually less than they were in periods before that. Is that correct to say?
Yeah,
Well-
you're thinking about that long-term graph that we've put together.
And I didn't see it in this document, but
Yeah.
for perspective, I would, on the graph, I'd rather see a flat line than I would spikes and variations. So, you know, it would be nice if we had something graphic to see, just how it was in 2008 when it was higher, and then we were the recipients of lower rates, and now they've been gradually coming back up in the past 4 to 5 years, I would say. You know, we've been challenged because we have been raising rates. But I think I get the drift of everybody else. I would rather see a flat or a lower, a flatter rate. You know, if it's a blip and it goes down $60 a year, that it's hardly worth the energy it takes to do all this administratively. And yet, you know, and it's going to have it will have an impact on some. You know, $5 a month can make a difference to someone here in town, but by and large, it's not. It's not going to be much. It doesn't hardly buy you a burger. You know, so in a month. So I would agree with the other two commenters that it would be better to have a flatter trajectory on rates over the next period, or a couple periods. And then, you know, like Councilman Quillen said, you know, you deal with those eventualities. I don't, with all the growth and with all the increase in rates, I don't foresee an over-collection. Even though we are growing, our load is not growing exponentially.
In lockstep,
Yeah.
you know.
I made a serious financial mistake 20 years ago, okay? I was building a new building, and money was tight, and I went with a bank that did their financing by LIBOR, which would be the trading overseas in the dollar exchange. Well, when the dollar exchange is right, you're okay. But guess what happened? 2008 hit, and I nearly lost my business. And I made up my mind that I would not do that ever again, that I would have a steady amount each month that I knew I had to budget. And most people have an idea what their electric bill is going to be. I mean, I opened up the bill yesterday, and I was within $20 of where it was going to be. Every year in December, we spend $300 on electricity because we've got the trees and all that. And it ebbs and flows. During the summer, it's going to be higher. And I think most of our customers think that way. And once again, I like knowing what the expense is going to be rather than having an unknown that we may have to deal with a year from now. So we've given everybody money back just to ask for it maybe more next year.
Any additional questions or comments from council?
Mr. Sims, would you like to touch on the retail rate
Yeah, that's-
aspect of this? Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So, before voting on the options for the PCAC, there is one last rate maintenance item that we're including with effectively all the options here. Since 2008, we've been working towards modernizing the retail rates for the city that used to have seasonal rates, summer and winter. It used to have declining rate blocks. They're all structures that existed really prior to the entrance of the real disruptive technologies like solar and things of that nature. And so in 2024, we were able to effectively take care of all of the rate classes, and the only last piece is for the large general service customers. They do still have one declining rate block in their energy rates, and so they pay one for the first 30,000 kilowatt hours and a different rate for the above that. So what I'm suggesting here is that we go ahead and just eliminate that last rate block. It's going to be revenue neutral for the class. So the class as a whole, it's not going to make any impact on their bill, but some customers are going to see a decrease and some customers are going to see an increase. And the increase is the larger use customers of the large general service class, because they had, since it was a declining rate block, and our rate from DMAC doesn't change, doesn't matter if it's the first 10,000 kilowatt hours or the next millionth kilowatt hour, it's all the same price. So that's why we want to have the rates be the same for all kilowatt hours in each class. So, but the impact, the largest increase is still less than 1%. So if you do go with option 2, there would be no impact on any customers that are medium general service and lower, including the residential. But the large general service customers, some would see the largest increase would be 1%, and then some would see a decrease.
The large general service customers, what amount is that?
So they have to have a minimum demand of 300 kW.
10-4.
So there's only maybe 7 or 8 in those rate classes. It's not many.
Okay. I appreciate you clarifying. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any additional questions or comments from council? Okay, if there are no additional questions or comments at this time, I'll set the motion.
I have a question before we do the motion.
Please, go ahead.
How are we looking at options here? We got it on the motion, there's 1.5, and 2.
Yeah, so we structured the motion so council could decide which one of those, when they make the motion, they
Okay,
would like
well,
to choose.
Is the hybrid 1.5?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's
It
what I
is.
want to clarify.
Yes, sir.
So, for clarification purposes, we're each going to verbally vote on whether we want 1.5, or I'm just going to make a motion?
Whoever makes the
for-
motion makes it for
Okay,
that, and we
okay.
either
Yeah,
agree
I
or-
I
yeah.
didn't want to make a mistake, so
Yeah.
I've been known to make a couple. So,
Haven't we all? All right. At this time, I'll set the motion.
Councilman Bradley, I would like to make a motion to accept the recommendation of Mr. Chris Sims with a Smart Utility Management to accept option number 2 to include an adjustment to the Power Cost Adjustment Clause, PCAC, to address the 2026 wholesale electric rates and additional electric rate maintenance items as presented.
All right. I have a motion from Councilman Bradley. Is there a second?
Councilman Quillen, I will second.
A second from Councilman Quillen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously. All right. Now move over to new business number 2. This is a revision.
Yeah, and council has in their packet all those options labeled option 1, option 1.5, and option 2. So, and that is the fee and rate schedule there. So based on the prior motion, if you would adopt option number 2, fee and rate schedule, that would permit staff to accept those changes and share that with our customers.
Are there any questions or comments relating to new business number 2?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I see the proposed effective date is February 1. Is that concurrent with the billing cycle? How is that going to work out?
That is correct. You would adopt it now, but it's February billing for January consumption.
Any additional questions or comments from council? If there are none at this time, I'll accept the motion.
Councilman Bradley, I would like to make a motion to approve the revisions to the fee and rate schedule to change the power cost adjustment calls, PCAC, to address the 2026 wholesale electric rates and additional electric rate maintenance items outlined in option 2 as presented.
We have a motion from Councilman Bradley. Is there a second?
Councilman Holland, I second that motion.
And a second from Councilman Holland. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously. On to new business number 3.
Okay. So today we have the property owner of the Seaford Inn located at 24058 Sussex Highway. And he has a group of folks here, and he is planning on coming forward and presenting a plan to the city council related to the property.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
Thank you for your time. To my left, this is Niravaya. He initially wanted to purchase the property in, was it July of last year? Yeah, July of last year. Now, we had a little bit of issues and stuff with the bank, and also we were also questioning ourselves whether we can possibly revive the property by ourselves and keep the ownership ourselves. We saw some of their plans, and then we thought to ourselves, maybe in the last 3 weeks, that they are a better fit to purchase the property, so we will sell the property to them. They have already spoken to the brands. They have excuse me, a property improvement plan. They've spoken to Mr. Bailey. They have engineering plans, as well as a few other things you can give. Yeah. So.
Thank you.
So that's preliminary things that we have done with the engineering. So we already have a hired engineer who is local in Delaware, who has done the renovation.
Yeah, sorry.
So we have already hired the engineers who are local in Delaware. They have talked to the new franchise that we are anticipating to go with, and the plans are prepared. We also have talked to the contractors. Initially we also got the permit when we were anticipating to close in July to replace the roof and do the exterior work first to secure the properties, make it look nice, and then start the inside work. But for some reason we could not settle during that time frame. So we have the list of the contractors. Even the materials for roof replacement is already sitting at the roof center because we ordered those and we could not settle. So, thinking of this, if the council allows, then, we are in agreements to purchase this property, and we have a plan to go and renovate this and bring it back to as what used to be. And we have submitted the material that includes, fire protection estimates, the engineering that we have already paid and hired them to do the work, and they have done many of the works already.
Sure, absolutely, yes, sir.
If anyone wants to see this, please feel free to.
I do have one question.
Yep. Councilman Quillen, go ahead and kick us off.
Do you have a settlement date on the sale?
26th of this month. April
26th of this month,
Yes.
you will go to settlement on the property.
Correct.
Yes. Is there anything in writing that you're gonna go to settlement?
Yeah, we have the
I mean-
all statements, settlement
Yeah, we have
statements.
the settlement statement.
All right.
Yeah. So,
Do you have an agreement of sale
yes.
that you've executed?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a timeline that you can share with the council on your estimate of when you take possession, if you take possession on the 26th of January, can you just kind of lay out for the council how quickly this renovation project will proceed and the length of time you think that this will take?
So, there are two items to this, right? The one is a franchise who dictates how the interior should look like. They need to get approvals on the plan, which is we already have it, but we have not executed the franchise agreements because we are not the owner of the property yet. So we cannot, right? We paid them $7,500 to just get the initial engineering draft saying what kind of carpet need to be there, what lighting has to be there, the color codings and whatnot, right? So that plan is done, engineering is there. As far as the timing goes, we obtained the permits from city to replace the roof and do the stucco works, right? So we have those contractors lined up, but we have to go back to make sure they can order the materials, get things in line. So, we are in a hurry because, we don't, we are buying the property, right? It's in our best interest to make it work and go as fast as we can. There are two things. One is engineering, second is franchise, and third is city itself, right? Because we have to get the permits submitted, make sure the reviews and revisions are done. So, exact timelines will be dependent on cities, also requirements, and the engineers are local. They are in a Rehoboth, so, they are familiar with the areas and whatnot. So we are thinking that it should be quick and easy. In terms of knowledge, like what needs to be done in Delaware. And the other benefits we have is we have a partner who has also Class A license in Virginia, so they have done the projects on governments and private. So, it's not like first time we are getting into and then we'll be like, what to do here, So and we are also in the same hotel industry as well, so we have the previous experience and get things done. And only reasons we'll be taking over is, we already know the problem, what is there, but we are confident that we can bring to the light to the property and make it the same as Holiday Inn Express that what it used to be.
I think probably my concern, and it probably will resonate through the group here, is if we grant this a year from now, looking at the same property and not seeing any improvements done on it. And, that's been a big concern. It's been an eyesore for quite some time. And the last person that made a presentation here wasn't very influential in terms of getting our acceptance. So that being said, I think I would like, as a council member, and I'm sure my fellow members would also, like to have more of a timeline so that we can base the progress along. Because, like I said, it's been this way for a while.
You said, you alluded to, we don't want to sit here for a year from now. I wouldn't want to sit here for 6 months from now and not see any progress.
No, that's,
Okay.
I mean, totally agree and understood, right?
We've had enough.
No, definitely.
We've seen enough.
Yeah, definitely.
Vice Mayor.
I'm sensitive to the fact that there are properties in this city that were once derelict that have been revived. The former Thriftway was slated for demolition, and it's now becoming the mill.
Correct.
The Allen House downtown on High Street was slated for demolition, and it was rescued by interested parties and is now, well, until recently, was occupied. It's not occupied at this time. And it's my opinion, after being in the construction industry for 2/3 of my life, that building can be saved, that the structure is good. You need a new skin and a new roof and a new interior. So I'm not averse to allowing a short window, not rescinding our vote, a short window for you to come back with a plan to make this a flagship hotel or a flagship property for something you're going to fly your flag over.
Oh, definitely.
Right? So that's my opinion, but it would be a very short window. My proposal would be 60 to 90 days to allow you to settle, to allow you to get your proposed
franchise agreement.
Your proposed agreement, thank you. And to get some engineering drawings submitted so that, I think that's administrative. I don't think the plans would need to come back to council. I guess they would, because we've already slated it for demolition. We would have to rescind the demolition order. So it would have to come to our satisfaction, and I would say 90 days. I would be prepared to alter the motion.
I'm going to speak my mind. I don't have a vote here, so this is where I'm at with this. This body agreed and moved forward with demolition for a reason on this property. This property is the recipient of more negativity in this community than anything I get now, is this property. It's an eyesore. It's not anything conducive to the direction of the city. So, me personally, we've been through this before. I've heard the same thing before. So, I'm just going to be 100% honest. My patience with this is pretty much tapped, because our residents' patience with this is tapped, because they come into our city and this is what they see, and they say, that's what you want city to be known for. That property right down has fallen apart. So, again, I'm sensitive to it. I understand you guys have a proposal. I'm not in the industry. I probably don't have the knowledge that Vice Mayor has on it. I think 90 days is very generous. I guess I would yield to somebody to tell me 30, 60, 90, what is more reasonable, but I think you guys are being, that is extremely generous, given the fact that I'm looking at this timeline, that it was condemned over 4 years ago. Demolition order issued almost 4 years ago, and it sat there and fallen to pieces. Just my opinion on it.
One more.
Vice Mayor, please.
Thank you. To add to my position, there's an estimated $450,000 cost to the city to demolish this property.
Sure.
If that can be avoided, the $450,000 would be returned back to the city over a period of time, which if it was torn down, we don't have any idea when we would get that money back to the constituents. So, in my mind, I will yield to give, I would say that 62 months, if the 26th, in 2 weeks, when they settle, that starts his clock. He's not able to do anything until he signs.
Right.
So he's already 2 weeks behind. So if 60 days is the day, I'm sure Mr. Bailey will put it on his calendar, and it'll tickle him when it comes up. So that would be my, I yield to your time frame. I would say 60 days.
Okay.
But I'm prepared to put that deadline on.
Before I go to you, Councilman, I'm just asking. I don't know if city manager or Mike Bailey, in your opinion, is 60 days reasonable?
So,
What we're asking for?
yeah, maybe just to recap
Okay.
what's been said, 60 days would be on or about March 15th.
Yep.
So the next council meeting after that date in March, you have two council meetings, the
Yep.
10th and the 24th. Just a suggestion, do we give these gentlemen enough time, give them till March 24th council meeting, ask them to get that, so they can get this project moving, get the franchise agreement done, stabilize this structure, clean it up, get it presentable, come back on March 24th to council meeting, give the council an update. If they don't proceed, if they have not gone to settlement, if they have not pursued this, you can then make your decision on that. If they have done it, they can better lay out, if they have gone to settlement, pursued the project, they can flesh out their timeline at that time and provide an update to the council.
I would say by 24th, every I is dotted, every T is crossed. If it's not, we're moving on. That's my opinion. But go ahead.
Well, and I'll be honest with you, there should be no more, one more last chance.
That's what I'm saying.
It's gotta be etched in granite, that's it, done deal.
Well, and I think one other thing is our frustration has been with the current owner, no offense, but it's been with the current owner because that's who's been this timeline. This gentleman,
Right.
Right.
we don't have any of those frustrations with this gentleman. He's willing to buy it. So give him the benefit of the doubt,
So,
the time frame to,
Well, let me ask this gentleman here. Is 60 days enough time for you to put it together?
so I would like to know what exactly you would like to see in 60 days, because, I would not go for a purchase of any property as a business. You guys all been into, I'm sure, one sort or another financial situations where if you not certain, like what's gonna happen in 60 days, I would not go and spend my $2 million on this, right? Spend the time and things. So this is where the, whole concerns has been. So I would like to clearly know what's being done and what is requirements, because, I would not just close in 2 weeks knowing that, 45 days later, I may not have a chance to this property. Then it's not worth for me to spend the money, right? So that's my only
Okay.
things I would like to make it clear.
I built a building from dirt to completion in 5 months, okay? 13,000 square feet. At the end of a month, I had a contractor lined up. I was application with DelDOT. I had crew set up. You were my HVAC contractor. Things were in place. They were tearing down my building on May the 1st. And so I was under a very, very strict timeline, and it is possible. So at the end of a month, you need to have an architect in here, you need to have a set of plans, you need to gather, and if you really want the property, and you really want to make this work, it's doable. But you're gonna, look, I called DelDOT every day at 2 o'clock until I got my entrance.
No doubt.
And
I totally understand, right? The only outside of my control the items are like franchise, for example, which is a Hilton Hotels, right? Or International Continental IHG. Those, they sit somewhere in the world, right? Whoever their attorneys are, they works according to their timings, That's my thing is like, no matter, if you can see in this information that before even closing, I spent $7,500 for them to tell me what needs to be done on this property, right? But when the franchise agreements has to be made, the attorneys comes in the pictures, right? And they have their own timing, So that's my concern has been. It's not about, even before closing the property, you can see I have a city permit.
In your experience,
Yeah.
what is an estimated time you need before you gain some clarity on this project to continue your investment?
So, definitely one is, would like to see the timelines, that what city council, is it gonna allow me to continue doing this work? I'm not investing the money to sit here in the same condition, this property for 2 years or 5 years because it's diminishing my wages, right? They have the property, they own the properties, right? I'm the new one. So I would not spend money somewhere anticipating I'm not gonna do anything, right? Because I don't have a love for the property as is the way it looks like. Nobody else, not
Right,
even him likes it the way it is, right? So I'm not coming as to keep this as is. My only concern is I would go to settlements, for example, on 26, right? If I don't know, I can get this past the 60 days, and if I'm satisfying your requirements, right? And you have a valid requirements based on your experience, so there is no, I'm not questioning any suggestion that you are making. My only concern is if I'm spending a few $1 million on the property, and if I don't know after 45 days if the council is going to approve what their decision is going to be, as a business owner, right, there is going to be genuine things like why would I go for something in a 45 days, not going to Vegas and spending money somewhere, right? It's a business decision. We would like to see the community. I like the city, all the city members, like we have, met them earlier as well, on site as well, before even closing. Like we met you as well. So our goal is to go, but the timeline of 45 days, that if a franchise doesn't come along, right, then I don't have control on that because, they need to sign, they need to send their engineers to tell exactly what light fixture is going to go through, how the new design looks like because, that old designs is no longer there, right? I have my engineers who submitted also the plan based on the money that we paid to the franchise company, anticipation of it taking over, but, it's been 5 months now, so I need to redo that whole exercise again, sign the contract. So, my concern is 45 days and, buying something that if I'm not certain, then that becomes a risk, right? And same way, I mean, I understand where you guys are
Right.
coming from too.
It's a risk for you
Well,
too.
Councilman Holland, go ahead.
Yeah, currently, do you own any other properties?
Yes,
hotels?
we have Best Western, Red Roof, and other independent hotels.
Okay,
And we have also retail projects happening in Eastern Maryland.
Okay.
Like nearby, so it's not a first time we are getting into construction, but it's the timing, right? We have to make sure that we get the approvals. We have the power companies to make sure, because power, I think cables are stolen, so we need to get those dig in, see, all these things, right? Before power is not there, we don't wanna start something and it's gonna be dark and then somebody breaks in again.
So-
Then,
based on your experience, so how long do you think it would take for you to come forth with some plans for
so
us?
coming forward with,
plans.
coming forward with the plans, the timelines are fine, right? I can estimate saying, okay, this is my estimate based on, we start calling the contractor and give you the estimates, right? I can also get the engineers, but need to have a certainty, right? That it's not like 45 days later, council decides that, we're gonna tear down this
Right.
property, and then I'm out of $few million and running around, That's not, something anybody would like to see, right?
Correct.
I mean, obviously, you guys don't wanna see it either unless there is a reason to do that.
Well, going back to my point, when I went to settlement for getting a loan for my property, I already had an architect in mind. We already had a construction company in mind. We had already put things in plan, because I wouldn't want to be in your shoes where I was borrowing money on a maybe if.
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, I'm thinking you should have been a little more prepared in terms of your, and it's not a criticism,
No, it's.
but
it's,
you're taking a big risk.
That's, the-
And by doing that, I would have had a lot more I's dotted and T's crossed before I came before the council. Because with what has happened in the past, you should anticipate our expectation level. And it's not a criticism, it's
no,
just,
so, just with the open eyes, the agreements we are into, we had the contracts back in June, July,
Right.
right? Then things didn't go because it's out of both of our control. There is a bank involved, right? There are franchise agreements and whatnot, so it didn't go forward. So all this money, $20-some thousand spent on this, signed the contract. For roof, the material is sitting at the roof centers, we end up paying deposits and whatnot, and it has to let it go, because we could not settle on the properties, right? And it's out of his control, out of my control. And finally, we have a third party that is coming together and now agreeing to the whole process, right? But it's only going to be contingent, right? So that's one of the reasons why we are not prepared as much as we like to be, is because this is all evolving every day that we go through. Because, we had a final confirmation a couple days back,
Right.
like 2 days actually, on Friday, we got the confirmation that you can move forward, with these things, and we came to know that there is a council meetings to discuss about this before we go for settlement and confirm. So there is a lot of moving parts.
Right, they just want to see some
and
significant
to
progress.
to further this, and probably nobody on the council knows this, I know City Manager Anderson does, because I contacted him. I was contacted at work one day in December from an individual that wanted to buy the real estate and was researching it at the time. And I've still got his name and phone number at the store. And I don't even know how, he said well, the city gave him my number at work to contact me. And told me his plan, told me he had big backers that would buy it and whatnot. And so you can see when you have different information coming from different directions, it seems from me that it was kind of up in the air, even that.
Right? So, and we do have a plan to put it back to the same franchise.
Going back to franchise, do you have a franchise locked in now? Okay.
Because we could not sign till the.
Back in July, did you have a franchise locked in then?
We had paid for the money, but we have not executed the contract because the property was not
Until the
purchased.
transfer.
The transfer happens, we could not sign, right? So, but we got their, improvements plan. So their engineer came in, they looked at the property.
They're interested in the property and franchising the property, and because they're experienced hotel owners, so
Well, I'm not speaking, I'll ask this question. If we give you a certain timeline to lock in a franchise, would that be acceptable for you?
I mean, I can
Timeframe for the
submit definitely the requirements, but how long it'll take for them to confirm, that is outside of my control.
They
That
typically
is
take 45 days.
Yeah, so it's like, as he said, it takes 45 days for them to confirm that they're gonna give a franchise, what need to be done, right? And you have to sign those papers saying you're gonna put the X colors, and the city has to approve those plans as well, because, I'm sure there is a requirements, right?
Local requirements, yeah.
Local requirements, so, that's a back and forth happens, and they need to agree that, okay, as per town of Seaford, you can have for example, stone in the bottom, you cannot go all the way stucco, right? And their requirement is all the way stucco. They give you override, but it needs to go back and forth before it gets. That's the concern, is it's outside of my controls and outside of even cities or franchise, because all these three has to come together to make this work.
I think my oversimplification of the whole thing is this. If a resident asks me tomorrow, why was the demolition halted? Why did you guys give 60 more days? And my response is, because we're waiting to see if a franchise is going to buy it or not. That's giving them nothing more than I'm giving them now.
I think that your answer could be that the property has been sold to a new owner, and we're giving that owner the opportunity to make the improvements on it, which doesn't cost the taxpayers.
Sure.
Versus the 450. I feel like I don't want to say being too harsh on him. I understand why he may not have everything done, because he hasn't bought the property yet. He doesn't own it. But in my opinion, delay the authorization for demolition, give this gentleman a chance to go to settlement and a chance to move forward. And if it doesn't move forward, then we can address it again. But he's got to have the opportunity to buy it first and to do anything. He's not had that opportunity to do that. This gentleman has.
So
And that's who we're upset with.
Just to follow up on that question, you stated earlier your plan is to go to settlement on the 26th of this month.
Yes.
Which sounds to me like a very large risk. I don't know the amount you're investing in the property. And with this franchise question kind of still hanging out there, which you've talked a little bit about, just to ask the question, is the plan to transfer this property to an entirely new entity, or will Galaxy Hospitality be involved in that entity going forward after the settlement? So these are
New
two
entity.
separate, Galaxy
I'm so
Hospitality
glad.
will no longer have any interest or stake in
Not-
the
not
property
anything.
after settlement on the 26th.
It's
Not
an
any-
online transaction. We came to know our property through the foreigner to listed the property.
Okay.
So we have.
So Dr. Grassett's statement is correct. This is your testimony to the council here is that this is a new entity, new player, that's a wrong word, new
New
company
department.
to the city, new,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have absolute no financial or even other kind of relations whatsoever.
okay, thank you.
Any additional questions or comments from council? Okay, if there are no additional questions or comments, I'll accept the motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the request of the property owner of the Seaford Inn located at 24058 Sussex Highway and delay authorized demolition of the property until March 24th to permit a new buyer to submit a closed sale agreement, a franchise agreement, and stabilization plan to repair and revitalize the facility.
We would vote a motion from Vice Mayor Henderson. Is there a second?
Councilman Quillen, I will second that.
We have a second from Councilman Quillen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, on to new business number 4. And Director Mears.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Evening.
I'm using this thing here. Okay. So what I have here is a bid for the repair of a manhole out at the Dolby Lift Station. Dolby Lift Station, as you all know, is the one where we accept wastewater from Bridgeville and Greenwood from the Sussex County Sewer District. So this is the manhole right before it goes into the wet well, and we noticed that the concrete of this is a precast manhole in sections, and we've noticed that it's failing when we were doing some work there. So we went ahead to put a bid together on we contracted with GMB. GMB put a plan together on how to repair it, and then we went to bid. So what they're preparing, what they are proposing is to replace the top ring and slab and top, and then also coat with a structural coating the rest of the remaining existing manhole. They believe that would take care of the problem. What we believe happened here was we had the type of exhaust system that would it would pressurize the wet well, and it was then blowing air into this manhole and being trapped in there because the manhole lid itself didn't have any holes in it. We have since, because we've installed a odor system on there, it now discharges through this odor system, and it's the type that is negative pressure. I think that's right, where it sucks the air out, sucks the air through the manhole, and then blows out the blower where the odor system is. So it should evacuate the air out of this manhole moving forward once repaired. So we received 3 bids, wide range of pricing. The low bid was $28,728.29, and the highest bid was $96,000. So the low bid was George & Lynch, who was more than capable of doing the work. So we are requesting them for approval.
Councilman, go ahead, Councilman Holland.
Why is there such a big difference in the bids?
You'd have to ask them.
You'd have to ask them, yeah. It could be, just how it fits in their schedule, how busy they are,
Somebody's
different
swinging
things.
for the fence.
Yeah, just hoping we say yes, yeah.
A little bit of something's better.
We're all thinking the same thing.
But
We're all
Be a
thinking
little closer than that.
But George & Lynch is a well-known contractor in the
Yeah.
area,
Oh,
so
sure.
he's, I feel really good about the
You
bid.
just have to kind of question it.
Oh, I know.
Councilman Quillen.
Director Mears, can you just explain also where these funds will come from too as well?
Sure, yep. So this will be part of a O&M maintenance, basically, and repair of this manhole. Right now, Sussex County is the only user of this, so we will recoup 100% of this cost through their user fees, monthly user fees.
Vice Mayor Harrison.
Just for my own curiosity, what was this due to acid and condensation?
Yeah, we believe it's, that's what and hydrogen sulfide gas.
H2SO4.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, sulfuric acid, when it gets in contact with water.
With moisture, spalling of the concrete.
Yeah, I thought it was a bad concrete batch,
Well,
but they looked into that.
gonna ask,
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, it looks like
is it a manufacturing defect or is it just an environmental
They,
problem?
supposedly, GMB did call the manufacturer and asked about the lot of the concrete when they,
that-
the batch of them that they did, Gillespie.
Gillespie.
very odd. We've not seen it.
No,
I don't remember ever seeing
It was
anything
bad,
like
yeah,
this.
not like that.
Any additional questions or comments from council? If not, at this time, I'll accept the motion.
Councilman Quillen, I'll make the motion to award the bid for manhole number 16 repairs to the low bidder of George & Lynch Incorporated in an amount of $28,728.29 as presented.
We have a motion from Councilman Quillen. Is there a second?
Councilman Holland, I make that motion.
A motion from Councilman Holland. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously. On to new business number 5.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good
Good
evening.
evening,
Happy New Year.
sunshine.
Happy New Year.
This is one of the times that you really enjoy your job. This is one of the things that I enjoy doing. We are here to ratify the sale of a parcel of land in the Western Sussex Business Campus. You can see the land highlighted in yellow. On December 29th of last year, we sold 20.625 acres in the Western Sussex Business Campus. that was sold to Delaware Municipal Electric Corporation, or DMEC as we all know them, for $1.25 million, which is actually $12,500 above what our asking price for the lots, which is $60,000 an acre. Should DMEC not be able to do what they intend on these lots, we do have a clause as part of that settlement that the city would purchase that back for that same amount of money. This allows us to ensure that these lands are used for economic development and job creation, and not just purchased for a stranded investment that we don't see what we've intended to do here in the business campus. It obviously represents a major step forward in our economic development strategy, and it's a win-win for the city and the region for the jobs that will come along as well. And it's definitely aligning with what our long-term plans and our vision are. So in our mind, the transaction is more than just a land sale. It's a catalyst for economic development opportunity, community development, and a stronger future for Seaford. DMEC did provide us a statement. If you'll let me, I'll just read it as they wrote it. DMEC actively advocates for just and reasonable rates while balancing electric reliability for its members. At a time of regulatory uncertainty and increasing costs, Seaford is fortunate that the DMEC board selected Seaford as a location for its expanded presence in Delaware, especially on the lower peninsula in Sussex County. An office is expected to be built in addition to other uses as explored by the DMEC staff and its board over the next couple of years.
Yeah, indeed.
That's definitely deserves applause.
Big win for the city.
And I will say DMEC was great to be able to work through this process. This was a challenge, as you can imagine, at the end of the year to try to get across the finish line, but we did it.
Amen to that. All right, are there any additional questions or comments from council on this matter? If there are none, at this time I'll take a recommended motion.
Okay. I, Councilman Bradley, make the following motion. Whereas on December 9th, 2025, the City Council unanimously passed a motion, 1, to approve a draft purchase and sale agreement and related documents discussed in executive session that same evening, subject to further amendments as may be necessary and appropriate to close on the proposed sale of real estate consistent with a discussion in executive session. 2, to authorize the city manager and city solicitor to negotiate additional edits to the draft purchase and sales agreement that do not materially alter the intent or terms of the transaction as may be necessary to close on the proposed sale of the real estate consistent with the discussion in executive session. And 3, to authorize the mayor and city manager to execute all necessary documents to close on the proposed sale of the real estate consistent with the discussion in executive session. Whereas, consistent with the as foresaid authorization on December 29th, 2025, the City and Delaware Municipal Electric Corporation, DMEC, closed on a transaction whereby the city sold to DMEC for $1,250,000, approximately 20.625 acres of land within the area known as the Western Sussex Business Campus, which sale is subject to certain contractual provisions for the city to repurchase the same property at the same purchase price. Now, therefore, to the extent of any additional approval by the City Council is necessary with regard to aforesaid sale of real estate, the City Council hereby so ratifies said transaction.
We have a motion from Councilman Bradley. Is there a second?
Councilman Holland, I second that motion.
Second from Councilman Holland. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Before moving on to new business number 6, just want to thank everybody involved on that. City Manager, do you have any thoughts on that matter?
I do. Thank you, Mayor. I would just like to, and she didn't say a lot about her actions, but our Director of Economic Development really carried this project across the finish line. As council is aware, and, you know, it was over the holidays.
Yes.
She worked with attorneys from both sides. I can't say enough how this would not have happened but for her actions.
100%. Well done. Thank you very
you.
much.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. All right, move on to new business number 6, and Director Brooke, good luck following up that act there, Director Brooke. You're up. Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm here to present, I have reached out for quotes from vendors for 2 pad-mounted switch gears for the reconfiguration of Circuit 310 out of the Ross substation for, to service the Sunrise Motel located at 22512 Sussex Highway. I've only received 2 quotes back, one from Annixter for Federal Pacific switch gears totaling $70,418.81 with a lead time of 35 to 36 weeks, and one from Kendall Electric for S&C switch gears totaling $101,790 with a 37 to 41 week lead time. These items are not budgeted in the current 26 budget. If approved, I plan to order these ASAP, and with a lengthy lead time, they will be added to the upcoming FY27 budget. We're looking with a 35 to 40 week lead time, sometime between mid-September and December for these items. It is my recommendation that we go with the price quoted from Annixter of $70,418.81. Cost is much lower, and the Federal Pacific switchgears are a product that we're familiar with and that we use often. So
10-4. Vice Mayor.
When you say reconfiguration of Circuit 310, what does that entail?
So currently, Circuit 310 runs north up Sussex Highway to the end of, to Old Furnace Road and Sussex Highway. Dead ends there. Sunrise Motel has been annexed into the city, but it is currently on the west side of Sussex Highway where we don't have any lines. It's currently serviced by Delmarva Power. To reconfigure, we would create a riser pole on our existing pole line, come down into one of these switch gears, then we'd have to dig underground conduits into a vault and then shoot 2 6-inch directional bores across Sussex Highway into the other pad-mounted switch in order to feed the Sunrise Motel, and then possibly that will give us the capability to feed further.
I'm just trying to picture it in my head that this switchgear would not actually be on their property. It would be on the right-of-way underneath the utility that's presently there.
Yes.
On the east side.
The one switchgear, the PMH-10, would be within the utility easement on the east side of the highway, and then the PMH-9 would be.
And then your additional work of boring or directional drilling to the property.
Yes.
Is a different part of the project, but not under these costs.
No, it's not.
That's just for the switchgear.
Not included in these costs. This is just for the equipment.
Just for that piece of equipment.
Yep. That's correct.
So is the hotel bearing the cost of the rest of the development to get the power there? Or is that on, how do we?
No, they are not. If you'll recall, and you'll remember this, Councilman, we purchased this service from DP&L because we annexed Sunrise Motel.
Yes.
So we have a buyout cost that council approved. I believe that was back in 2001, maybe even earlier than that. We've just now worked with DP&L to try to come to this project. This is a circuit reconfiguration and not all directly contributable to the service for the hotel. So this circuit reconfiguration is a larger cost that the city should bear.
So,
because it's a regional improvement.
so are you gonna tie into other utilities on the west side of the highway?
This switchgear will give us the capability,
Good, okay,
if we,
that was my,
should there's
Yeah,
any,
it's
if
not-
there were,
it's not a total cost to the hotel or the motel. It's
Yes.
not, we're not doing all this just for that one property. It's gonna hook to
Yeah.
those.
this would give us the
lines.
ability to shoot down the highway with
Yeah,
our
gotcha.
distribution circuit and pick up anything else that's annexed.
Yeah, and ultimately, we also would like to kind of backbone this system, because as you know, this is a lot of technical details, I guess, but, you know, we've got basically a radial feed pole line to Old Furnace Road that's gonna be extended to the Dolby Farm. So if we can kind of backbone this system and create some internal loops, should a pole get taken out, we can do some switching in the future. There's a lot of infrastructure that has to be built out over time as this quadrant of the city develops. But this is one step in a larger regional infrastructure improvement project.
So is it gonna be looped back to the same circuit 310 or a different circuit?
It would be back to the same
The
circuit
same-
310,
The
yes.
same one that comes across?
If, I mean, that's if we,
Right now.
yes,
Yeah.
currently.
Should we extend, should development occur along Bridgeville Highway and those areas annex, obviously, we have the opportunity to bring other circuits north. We have, in the future, we'll have opportunities potentially to append to 320, things like that. So, you know,
So what is this, I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but what is the circuit that comes behind Muirfield, behind Muir's campus?
That is circuit 330, and that is, we can tie 330 and 310 together.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's fascinating stuff
Yeah.
to me.
It's interesting.
It's electrifying.
just a note, Director Brooke anticipated you might ask for details.
You got an A.
Oh, all right, thank you.
Councilman Bradley said it was electrifying, so good job. Any additional questions or comments from council? If there are none at this time, I'll set the motion.
Councilman Bradley would like to make a motion to approve the recommendation of the Director of Electric, Greg Brook, and award the quote for electric switchgear to the Sunrise Motel Circuit reconfiguration project to Annixter, who provided the lowest cost proposal as presented.
We have a motion from Councilman Bradley. Is there a second?
Councilman Henderson, I second.
We have a second from Vice Mayor Henderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously. On to new business number 7.
Okay. So as you all are aware, Chris Derbyshire with GMB and I presented the approval for the construction project of the headworks down at the wastewater treatment facility. The funding, I think it was the beginning of December, maybe the last one in November. But as you are aware, the project came in a little high, so we needed to get another binding commitment letter from the state to do a second loan closing for $2.1 million. It's still within the umbrella of the whole project, which was like the $47 million project. We're just transferring a little bit or using a little bit of money from phase 2 to complete the phase 1 project. So that's what this is.
Okay. Any questions or comments from council? If there are none at this time, I'll set the motion.
Councilman Quinn, I'll make the motion to approve the terms of the Delaware Water Pollution Control Revolving Fund binding commitment offer to the city of Seaford wastewater treatment plant upgrade and expansion project that would permit a supplemental loan to finance and the funding and shortfall for the phase 1 improvements and permit the mayor and city council or city manager to execute all necessary loan closing documents as presented.
All right, we have a motion from Councilman Quinlan. Is there a second?
Councilman Holland, I'll make that motion.
We have a second from Councilman Holland. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously. And on to new business number 8.
Good evening again. So I am here on behalf of the IT department to request a budget allocation and slight overrun. the VMware that we use is no longer being supported. It was actually an abrupt end of support, and we need to upgrade to a compliant version. This is causing some problems for us with our main data management. And in order to get everything where we need, we've got to do something different. So we're asking to upgrade that current storage server. In the total, that is $38,062.62, which includes 1 year of their gold support, which is 24/7, 4-hour on-site support. We currently have in our capital budget 2 items that could be reallocated for this cost. One is a $20,000 line item for the Millstone software. We were fortunate Chief was able to secure some grant funding for us to be able to get that, so that doesn't actually have to come out of our budget. And then there's an additional $17,800 that we have earmarked for network redundancy. We've kind of put that project on hold even prior to this with the thought of going into the FY27 budget on that. We're in conversations with DMEC about some potential opportunities that are there that might offset some of these costs, so that's also on pause. And so if you take those two together, it leaves us $262.62 that we would overrun our capital line item budget. We would have actually had enough money in the budget, but if you remember, we did the 2 vehicles in last year, the 2 ProMasters, one for electric, one for IT. We had enough in our IT to actually cover the shortfall for electric, so that's been used to allocate for that. So that is our request.
Vice Mayor.
What's our current terabyte storage rate?
About 80 raw, or about 120 raw, 80 usable.
So, I'm not sure that on pool 1 in the proposal, which says 26 terabytes raw capacity.
That's per drive.
Per drive, and there's
Yes.
7 of them? Is that
No.
what I see, a quantity of 7?
No.
How does that work out? I'm trying to understand that.
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of, so we're doing 2 storage servers, so I'm thinking the camera storage. So the camera storage that's something different. This one, our current usable storage is around 25, I want to say, terabytes, and we have 30, it's around 30, so with RAID redundancy and everything, it's lower. But we're only using probably 15 to 20 of it now.
Mm-hmm.
So with this new one, we'll have 26 raw, 13 usable, and then we'll be able to scale up after the budget year. My plan is, that's why we're doing the 1-year gold, is to kind of reduce the cost up front and then budget to upgrade to the 5 years of gold or another additional 4 years of gold, and then expand the storage to give us more capacity so that we're not sitting at 80% usage right off the. But this is just to get us in the door.
And this will get us to the latest and greatest
Yes.
of the VM.
Well,
that we need to get to.
I get that part, that you need
Yeah,
the
right.
support and you need the
Yes.
hardware or the firmware. So you're comfortable with like a net, no change in capacity for now?
Yes.
But you're going to be able to build it
Yes.
further?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any additional questions for Trish or Gary? All right, if there are no questions at this time, I'll accept the motion.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Holland, I make the motion to approve the budget reallocation and the budget overrun expenditure for storage server upgrade due to the front end of support and updates as presented.
We have a motion from Councilman Holland. Is there a second?
Councilwoman Grassett, I second the motion.
We have a second from Councilwoman Grassett. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Thank you.
Passes unanimously. On to new business number 9. And he's back.
I'm back, baby. All right, so not everything lasts forever. That's all I'll say on this. So we got into an agreement with Sussex County for them, for us to dispose of our sludge to their new fancy dryer that they installed. This is back in like 2020. So around the same time that we had an agreement to start looking at taking their wastewater from Bridgeville, Greenwood, we also got into an agreement with them to dispose of our sludge. We got out of composting, and we started taking our sludge there for them to dry. Well, through the years, they have had problems with their dryer, and then it's since, in the last couple of years, actually have not used it anymore. Actually haven't used it in quite a while, so they were actually hauling our sludge straight to DSWA, the landfill. So they have had all kinds of problems, I guess, keeping drivers and different things, so they just want to get out of the business. So they served us a 30-day letter. They did discuss it with us first. Then they served us a 30-day letter, basically is all the contract required, stating that they did not want to receive our sludge anymore. So they did offer us to buy some roll-off containers, 4 roll-off containers at the price of $5,000 each, which will also include tarps, a tarp system for them, because when they purchase them new, they come with a tarp system. New, they're about $15,000 a piece. So we are they're in great shape. I mean, there's, other than, fading from the paint, but the structure and everything about them is great. So then we also contracted with Clean Delaware. Had to kind of do a few things. I had to contract with Clean Delaware to haul the dumpsters, so I had to find a hauler. They're going to haul it for $250 a load. And then also I had to get a permit with DSWA to be able to dispose of our waste there. So basically they did let us transfer. We just did some analysis on it for the county to renew their permit. So DSWA did allow us to just transfer their permit to our permit. And then next year we'll have to do our own analysis on it to maintain our permit every year. So I believe possibly we'll see a net savings, annually on the disposal of it. It's just something we're going to have to administer, and we just got to deal with it. Just got to change with the times,
Councilman Quillen.
Can you give kind of an estimate on your annual savings what it might be?
I would hate to put a number on it because I don't know that we are going to save anything. I just think, running the numbers, we might save a little bit, but it's nothing I really want to quantify right now. We're not doing this to save money. Unfortunately, we're doing this because of the need to do it. So.
Unfortunately, we have to dispose.
We have to dispose of it.
Some way.
Yeah, some way. Yeah.
And this is the most viable way to do it.
This is the way we're set up to do it right now, so it's the easiest transition. We could look at other things in the future, whether we want to, I don't know that we would, but maybe we want to buy a truck, maybe we want to haul it, maybe, so, yeah. This is going to get us over the gap.
2 questions.
Sure.
We still have capacity to dewater it.
Yes.
So it's not so heavy when we haul it.
Correct.
Number 2 is, when do we renegotiate our flow rates to receive Sussex County's waste?
We will give them a 30-day notice.
When,
And that's done monthly.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, O&M, we look at that monthly, and they're charged based on their flow rates. Our agreement.
It's tongue in cheek.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's tongue in cheek, but this was a sweetheart deal in 2020 when we were going to abandon our drying facility because they said they wanted it.
Right.
And now they're out of the business.
Right.
So it has put a hitch in our giddy-up.
There's been some changes in management over there, so they don't have the same philosophies maybe as the,
Yeah, I get it.
so.
I wonder what other things are going to come down the pipe.
Now, I will say, this cost was and still will be, paid also by the county through their monthly O&M fees, so.
Yeah,
We don't bear the cost 100%.
Yeah, they get approximately
Well,
40% of this.
Whatever, was it 40%?
That's
35 to 40.
Yeah, that's the
depending.
rough number based on, yep.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. It's the way I feel.
You got the audience on
Check our
that one.
giddy
You
up.
got the
We'll
audience
check
on
our
your
giddy
side.
up later, right?
You got a pop in the audience on that one, Vice Mayor. All right. Any additional questions? I reluctantly ask, any additional questions from the council? All right, if there are no additional questions or comments, I'll accept the motion.
Councilman Quell, I'll make the motion to approve an unbudgeted expenditure from the WWTF capital account to purchase specialized containers for Sussex County, for the transportation of biosolids materials from the wastewater treatment plant to dispose sites as presented.
We have a motion from Councilman Quillen. Is there a second?
Councilwoman Grassett, I second the motion.
A second from Councilwoman Grassett. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, it passes unanimously. Any old business?
No, sir, no old business.
All right, we'll keep it moving to the reminder of meetings.
All right, City Hall and utility divisions will be closed Monday, January 19th, 2026, in observance of the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. And then it is that time of the year where we start to talk about the municipal election, which will be held Saturday, April 18th, 2026. It will be in the council chambers here at City Hall between the hours of 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This year, one mayoral seat is up for election for a 2-year term and 2 council member seats for 3 years term. I'll announce Vice Mayor Henderson has filed for re-election, Councilman Mike Bradley has filed for re-election, and Mayor Matt McCoy has also filed for re-election. I'll just state all candidates must have filed by 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Friday, February 27th, 2026, and then to be eligible to vote, anyone 18 years of age or older who's a bona fide City of Seaford resident and U.S. citizen must have been registered at the State of Delaware Department of Elections by 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday, March 27th, 2026. That is all I have, sir.
Thank you, City Manager. At this time, I'm going to move over to liaison reports. We're going to begin with Councilwoman Stephanie Grassett in Code, Parks and Recreation.
In an area that's been very quiet tonight and has had nothing, Parks and Recreation, I'll do some highlights. These are basically for a month because, of course, we didn't have that second meeting in December. As far as Parks is concerned, they have completed blowing out the irrigation at the sports complex. They have tore down and removed the old storage shed near the Jay's Nest. They have submitted a draft fiscal year 27 Parks budget to the Superintendent of Parks and Recreation to begin the budget process. They replaced the flags in Kiwanis and Riverview Park. They've been cleaning up limbs and brush. In the Recreation Department, the game schedule for youth basketball was sent out to coaches as well as the picture schedule. And matter of fact, the youth basketball games started this past week. I know that's where my husband is this evening, is watching 2 of them. The Little Wrestlers Clinic is halfway done now with a total of 23 participants this year. And as far as the park superintendent, she's been working on the tennis court replacement located at Seaford Senior High School. We will be receiving $190,000 from the Outdoor Parks and Recreation and Trails Grant to work on the tennis court replacement there. The superintendent also created a 2025 recap video of all the programs and projects the Parks and Rec Department had accomplished and released that on social media. And already we're talking about spring. They are working on advertisements, and I did see those went out on social media this week for spring soccer registration. As far as the code department, not a lot has changed. We are up to 1,865 rental licenses. The rental renewals are being processed. At this time, I believe they have till February something.
I believe that's correct.
End of February to pay for the rental licensures. They're continuing to do violation inspections throughout the city. Updates on any areas of construction. Let's see, I think Bel Air has been completed. They're just waiting to tie in one sewer line and test it. Before then, that dedication will be done and Bel Air will be wrapped up. The Nylon Capital project is continuing. Work is continuing there, especially the Tidal Health building construction. You can ride by, you can see that it's moving right along. Governor's Grant Phase 4. The utility installation is underway and the lots have been graded. D.R. Horton is the builder. And they have submitted 5 master house plans for review, and they were going to be submitting permits before the end of the year. And now for the ones everybody asked about, Aldi. DelDOT finally approved the plans for Aldi. Aldi will be going on North 13. And we are waiting for the final permits there so that those approvals can be given. Cookout, final revised plans have been returned and have been approved. They're still waiting on the architectural plans. And of course, Mod Wash, the building is up. If you go by there, the exterior facade installation has started, and they're working on their interior as well. And that is it for Parks and Rec and code enforcement.
Thank you, Councilwoman. We'll move over to Police and Fire and Vice Mayor Dan Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got 2 complete reports. I'll start with former Chief Wilson's final report. Before I start, I would like to thank him for his service over the last 8 years as chief, and all of his other service here, and that he will continue to do. We really appreciate his dedication to the community. And welcome the incoming Chief Reed. We're looking forward to working with him as well. As far as total department responses, the total department responses for 2025 were 5,871 for an average call load per day of 16.08. Total calls for 26 so far are 178 calls, 14.8 average calls per day. On page 2, you'll see the December calls split out with the hours of service, personnel hours, and the miles traveled under both fire and EMS. And for the entire year, you'll see the same columns with totals or subtotals for each of those headings. Under significant events, this has been a long reporting period, so you'll see a number of significant events, most of which were out of the city. There was two in-city fire calls. Most of the others were mutual aid calls, or let me back up. They were not mutual aid. There were 2 mutual aid calls. Most of the other calls were outside of the city in the district. Under apparatus status, brush 87 is out of service for a pump repair, and E87-2 is out of service due to an air leak and a voltage issue. The next heading, you'll see the distribution of gasoline and diesel that was used during the period of December 2nd to January 1st. The next heading would be under training. The last training was January 7th, Wednesday for CPR and AED. And radio knowledge, along with Mayday information, the next training will be January 21st at Station 87, where they'll be doing forcible entry, and they get a chance to tear stuff up. You'll see the totals for the year, January 1st, 25 through December 31st, 25, of all the training hours and all the different types of training that personnel completed. Under EMS and career services, firefighter EMT Brooks Morris is moving back to part-time status as of the beginning of February, and pardon me. Numerous EMTs in the FTO program are currently from members to new part-time employees. You'll see the 2025 community events tally, 168 events, 1,656 total personnel with a total of 3,258 hours. We'll round it up to 3,259. We have the main announcement that I'd like to make, which is up on the screen, is that the State Fire Prevention Awards, we had a winner from Seaford, Abigail Croft from Frederick Douglass Elementary, was presented with a second place at the State Awards on January 4th in Cheswold, Delaware. There's a picture of Abigail and former Chief Wilson there. Congratulations to Abigail. I hope she continues to develop her writing skills and maybe even consider a career in the fire services someday. New engine 87.3 has pictures that have been posted on the fire department Facebook page if you're interested in following along with the progress on production. And we have a list of new 2026 officers. They will be installed at the Wednesday meeting on January 14th. Heading up, we have Fire Chief Matt Reed, Deputy Chief Ben O'Beer, Assistant Chief Trevor Holmes, Assistant Chief Scott O'Reilly, Assistant Chief Jason Hudson, President Mark O'Beer. The Vice President's position is open. Secretary is Wayne Rigby, Treasurer John Stevenson, Director J.C. Willen, and another Director, Ben Hastings. I'd like to thank all of those folks for dedicating their time to making sure that the fire department is run smoothly currently and into the future. Chief Kraft has submitted his report, and he has an extended report. It terminates at the end of the year, so it does not run necessarily into the new year. So we have 2025 totals in the left-hand column, which compare to all of the other previous totals, and you can make a comparison. Total complaints are down from 2024. All crimes are down from 2024. We unfortunately did have 2 homicides in 2025 versus 0 in the previous period. Robberies are down. Sex crimes are up year over year. Burglaries are up year over year. Drug crimes are down significantly year over year. Overdoses are down year over year. Traffic contacts or traffic tickets are actually down, although there's been more contacts this year. Traffic contact citations given, there are fewer contacts. DUIs are down, crashes are down, and false alarms are about even, down just 2. So the statistics are looking somewhat better for last year than the prior year. But I'll leave it up to you guys you can compare between the previous periods to see the trends. Under all crimes, the 297, and you'll see the distribution there. No felonies, 50 misdemeanors, 14 violations, 1 civil, and 212 other, for an 88% clearance rate, which is, if I remember correctly, above the last clearance rate. And additional crime data, there were 24 complaints, including assault, aggravated assault, burglary, fraud, larceny, motor vehicle theft, and weapons charges. And you'll see the number there, the totals there. Under drug complaints, there were 23 drug complaints with 22 adult arrests and one prosecution decline, 1 search warrant during the period. Under traffic, 385 traffic contacts and 243 citations, 55 warnings, 3 alcohol-related DUIs, and 1 crash-related. 53 crashes during the period, 4 injury accidents, all on public streets. 20 reportable and 29 non-reportable accidents, 11 hit and runs. 6 of them were on private property. The other 5 were on public streets. No bike accidents, no motorcycle accidents, 1 pedestrian accident on private property in the McDonald's parking lot. And as previously stated, there was 1 alcohol-related alcohol or drug-related crash. You'll see the distribution, time of day and day of the week where there was most activity. That can be blown up if you have you can zoom out on that or zoom in if you care to. There were a number of significant events in the summary report, which I'll leave to you to review. Administration was quite busy during the period. It was almost a whole month that, well, actually just 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks of the year. You can see that there was quite a few meetings there. Community events. On December 13th, there was to stuff the bus at Walmart with the SRO Wingate for Christmas, and on the 16th, there was Shop with a Cop. SRO and other officers from Seaford PD participated, and then once again on December 20th, there was a stuff the bus at Walmart for that SRO Wingate organized, and really appreciate his involvement with that. You know, he's a Santa Claus dressed in blue. Mm-hmm. So you'll see the training subheading. The Spear Team training is ongoing. The upcoming Dover Police Academy started on the 11th of this month. We have 3 recruits that started at the academy. I don't have their names yet. I think I saw their names in the conditional hire. Yes. But I did not commit them to memory. On December 8th, there were background investigations that were conducted by Corporal Blake and Patrolman Kane. And you'll see a number of criminal arrests and the records there, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'm going to move over to Administration and Councilman Orlando Holland.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Lieutenant Representative Danny Short's coffee meeting. They also attended DMEC's board meeting and executive committee meeting. And the site visit was made to Maryfield to review accessibility issues. And IT has developed a plan to eliminate the bottleneck issues on the security cameras. And they attended various other meetings and events, and all the work was routine. And that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Over to Electric and Councilman Mike Bradley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The electric department supplied power for the fuel tank camera at Hooper's Landing. Replaced a pole on 202 front from a pole fire. Did a switching procedure to minimize downtime and keep the hospital electrified. Kudos to the workmen for their hard work in that effort. Mm-hmm. Took down Seaford Christmas lights and assisted with blades. There was tree removal in the industrial park and Williams Pond Park. Trimmed trees on Elm Drive. Dug a conduit and set switch gear pad for Seaford Innovation Center. Replaced a bad transformer at the fire department. Greg Brooks submitted a permit to DelDOT for work on Atlanta Road. And he spoke with Demet about the Navajo 2026 project. And I asked a couple questions about this morning because I was unfamiliar with it. This year they're going to the Four Corners region out west. There are actually 10,400 families that live in that area that have no electricity. And they are forced to heat and cook with a wood stove, which I find a little disappointing, being we have an EV movement for electric cars, but yet we have people without power in this country. He met at Wash and Vac about a solar upgrade, reviewed groundman applications and made a conditional offer to a candidate, received prints for the KinderCare facility, upcoming underground at Governor's Grant Phase 4, and continue moving forward with the Seaford Innovation Center. Thank you very much. Respectfully submitted.
Mr. Mayor, I may be out of order, but could I ask a question?
By all means.
When was the last time that we participated in the Navajo project?
2022.
So it's been several years, and it'd be great to have it Seaford represented.
2 volunteers.
Very good. All right, over to our Public Works and Wastewater Treatment Facility and Councilman Alan Quinlan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll start with Public Works. Leaf machine pickup was completed this past week. Our residents will have to go back to bagging their leaves until October 1st, 2026, and then when the leaf machine will be fired back up again. Kudos to Director Mears and his staff for doing that as a great service to our community. New water services installed on 2 houses on King Street. Water service replaced on Pond Street. Assisted code department with property cleanup at several locations. Patch repair on 5th Street. Snow plows are ready to go for any possible snow. No. Streets were brine on our last mini snowstorm, and more brine has been prepared and ready to go for the next snowstorm. Let's see, quarterly water samples have been collected for the state. Annual chemical reporting has completed for 2025. A sewer lateral repair was on Front Street. Troubleshooting a pump at retirement living. That's where we need to be, right?
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, on the lift station. So that completes the liaison report for Public Works. We'll move over to wastewater treatment facility and compost. Plant performance is good and steady. Dewatering has been performing decently. FE mixer is tripping a breaker, so they pulled it for evaluation. Repaired secondary flash mixer. Repaired lock on the administration building door. Replaced a bad blower on the administration building HVAC unit. Replaced worn polymer pump on the belt filter pump. Cleaned a PWAS flow meter. It's getting late. Working on the blower number 1 replacement for the VFD installation. And that completes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Quillen. Appreciate everybody's reports. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to hold an executive session for the purpose of discussing negotiations.
So moved.
A motion from Councilman Quillen. Is there a second?
A second.
Second from Vice Mayor Dan Henderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, we enter executive session. Thank you very much.